Welcome to section 2.1b. Now, we're going to go a little further with our rules of exponents, and we're going to get a little more larger terms that we're going to be working with. Now, let's look at the rules we've been discussing. Okay, the power product rule, the basic power rule, or notice I call that the piggyback rule. And then we have the power rule of products, which means that my A and B term inside the parentheses, right inside here, have a power of 1. And also the power rule for quotients. This is also going to have exponents of 1. Now, here's how it's going to work, because we're going to be combining these rules. And I'm going to let you know that the power rule is always done first, followed by the product rule. Now, could you write a power rule as repeated fractions or repeated terms, repeated multiplication, and then use the product rule? The answer is yes. But you start with the power rule. Now, these are a couple of steps. When we begin, notice the first rule requires that you recognize the power rule first. Second, then you process by using the product rule. And when fractions are around, we're going to be dealing with simplifying those particular terms. Now, be very careful. When you have this kind of a term, do not do anything until you get these powers removed. Okay, that's why you use the power rule first before you reduce any fraction. Now, it may not make sense until I show it to you, and that is where we're going. Now, I have several slides here, and I have one per slide. Now, the first thing we're going to do is use our power rule, which means this term that I've just highlighted in blue is going to be done first, and then this second term is going to be done second, but they both require power rule, which means, okay, let's do it in pieces. This box right here, we have to recognize that it's 4h with the power 2. Well, remember, 4 has a power of 1, h has a power of 1. So with the power rule, I am then going to take this 2 and multiply. This is going to give me 4 squared h squared. This is now my first term. Now I'm going to come to my second term. I'm using the power rule. This is 3h to the 7 and then I have a 3 out here. Now remember, this 3 has a 1. So when I use the power rule, this 3 is multiplying by 1, but don't forget the 7 is multiplying by 1. Okay? Power rule is done first. And notice there are no exponents. See the yellow little pieces, circles? There's no powers anymore because I did the power rule first. Now, second, we're going to multiply the numbers. Well, this happens to be 4 squared, which is 16. 3 squared is 27. So what I'm going to do is take 3 times 27, or 16 times 27. Now, those two numbers are going to give me 432. 16 times 27. Do you see how I got 432? Now, this is an H. This is an H. I now, third step, add exponents, which is going to give me H, 23. Both of them have H's. So my final answer is right here in the black box. 432 H to the 23rd power. Now, let's go a little further. Let's try again. Okay. Because I have these yellow exponents, the 3 and the 2, my first step is power rule. Get rid of those exponents. Well, this term is going to go right here. Now remember, that is 2x with the 3 on the outside. Now remember, there's a 1 here, there's a 1 here. This is what you're thinking, which means I'm getting 2 cubed x3. That's what that blue term is. And notice I've put it in a parentheses, but there is no exponent on the outside now. There's nothing here. I did the power rule. Well, now we're going to take this part of it, and that's going to go here. Well, this is 2x with the 2 outside. Remember, this 2 has a 1, this x has a 1. Well, this is giving me 2 squared x squared. And again, I've gotten rid of the exponent on the outside. But remember, those terms are back to back, which means I multiply. Okay? So my third step, or my second step, is multiply numbers. Well, this is 2 cubed, which is 8, 2 squared, which is 4, which means I get 32. Now my third step is my product rule. This has an X. This has an X, which means behind that 32, I'm putting an X, but I add the exponents. Add exponents. Right? Let's try again. Okay, now this is a little different. Now, this has a 2, but it only pertains to what's inside the parentheses. That 2x can't be touched yet. That's way down here at the bottom. But my first rule is my power rule. Okay, this black box is 4x squared T4 with the 2 outside. Now remember, this 4 has a 1, which means, what am I getting back here? This 2 is multiplying by that 1. This 2 is multiplying by that 2. This 2 is multiplying by that power of t. And notice, I now have no exponent. I got rid of this 2. Order of operations. Power rule comes first. Okay. Now, the next rule is multiply numbers. Because this 2 and this 4 are going to multiply. That is 2 times 16, which means this is 32. Okay. Now, the third rule is our product rule. But you got to be careful here. Okay. The reason is there's an X here and there's an X here. This is giving us, right back here, X to the 5th power because we're adding the 1 with the 4. But then I have this lowly t. That lowly t gets put behind the X. This is my answer. Power rule first. Okay, let's try this one. Okay, again, this -3 is not going to do anything until I do this part in the green box. The green box is my power rule, which means that -3 is staying. But I'm going to put a parenthesis here because I got to get rid of this 2. That's meaning 4a squared b squared. Now there's my 2. Remember, this 4 has a power of 1. This is giving me 4 squared. A to the 4th, b to the 4th. multiply numbers. Now, this is 4 squared is 16 times a negative 3. That is going to give me a negative 48. But if you'll notice, there's no letters with the 3. Okay? There's nothing here. So these letters get just placed behind the 48, which is a to the fourth, b to the fourth. This is my answer. There really isn't too much product rule here because the a and b power are inside the parentheses, and I only have a to the fourth and b to the fourth. Huh? Okay. Now, this is where you got to remember I have a fraction. First step is power rule. But this is a fractions. That means inside this parentheses, the 3 has a 1, the 6 has a 1. So this is going to give me 3 cubed d9 in the numerator. It is going to give me 6 cubed in the denominator. 2. Multiply numbers, which means 3 cubed and 6 cubed. This is 27. Now this is 36 times 6. This is 218, 216. Now the d to the 9th is here. But this is where you got to be careful. See this word simplify? 3. Reduce fraction. Okay. Now the d to the 9th is staying. That's not changing. That is going to stay in the numerator. Now, how you reduce this is up to you. Okay. Now, if I divide by, let's see. Okay, if I divide this numerator by 27 and I divide the denominator by 27, I'm going to get a 1. And this is going to give me an 8. This is my answer. But you've got to be careful. See this 1 right here? That 1 doesn't really have to be written because I have a D9 in the numerator. So this could technically be D9 over 8. That 1 is understood, like the 1 in the original problem was understood. So you have your choice, 1 D9 over 8 or D9 over 8. Now I'm going to let you know that Alex prefers the D9 over 8 because they believe that you know the one is understood, even though I don't write it in the circled right answer. Okay. Now, last but not least, okay. Now, this is a three-part problem, okay? This is a three-part problem. Do numerator first, denominator second, and then see if you can reduce the fraction. Okay. Well, we're going to start right here. Numerator. Okay. This is going to give me 12y cubed with a 2. Remember, this 12 has a 1, which means that I'm getting 12 squared y6. This is my numerator. But remember, 12 squared is 144 y6th. Multiply numbers. Now, I have the denominator right here. This is 4z10 over 3. Well, don't forget, this 4 has a 1, which means this is 4 cubed z30. This is my denominator. And I multiply the numbers, which is going to give me 4 cubed is 64 z 30th. Okay, this simplify. Well, notice the y and the z are different letters, so we're not changing them. They have to stay where they are. But you have, in this case, a fraction. Can you reduce this fraction? Well, okay. Well, if you take if we take and divide by 16, this is going to give me 4. This is going to give me 9. Reduce numbers. Because you can't touch the y and the z. They're different. It's like apples and oranges. Okay. Okay. Now, this ends to 1 section B. So I'm saying bye-bye.